Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be looking at the new feature, which is the statistics feature. I love this feature because it gives me so much information about the game that you never know. And I know it's a bit geeky, but it's pretty cool really. So I'm gonna be going through this feature with you guys and sharing with you guys how to use the data right in front of you and make meaning out of it and use it to progress in your game. So a lot of the video I'll be directing it to beginner players, but if you are intermediate or veteran player, do stay on as you may learn something as well. Okay, so we'll just quickly jump into the hero statistics. So this is what I consider a micro level of the whole new feature, okay? So basically it shows, for the hero statistics, it shows you like where the hero is mostly used, and it gives you a rough idea of whether the hero is PvE oriented or PvP oriented, okay? Because as you can see from Spina, she is mostly used in Guild Dungeon, Guild Raid, World Boss, Castle Rush, and all these are PvE modes, okay? So it also hints at what kind of item you should be equipping this certain hero that you are looking at. Because if it's mostly used in PvE, then of course you will want to boost PvE damage from it and give it PvE oriented weapons, right? However, there are some heroes such as Ace, their usage is kind of even in every single mode, okay? So that means they probably have a very good passive which will be usable in a lot of situations, and in this case you may not know whether to give him PvE or PvP kind of equipment. So if you're not sure whether to equip him with PvE or PvP equipment, we'll have to look at the meta. But mostly you'll probably have already given him PvP equipment, or if your Ace has just started being built, then you can probably give some basic PvE equipment as well. That's totally fine. So the next part of the hero statistics is a feature which is the item statistics. I love this feature so much because it's so detailed and contains a lot of useful information. So for the first part, it talks about the percentage of the most used equipment combination, okay, for weapons. So for Spina, for example, here 89.3% of the players give her critical, double critical, which suggests that you should probably follow that as well, because I mean, when most people do it, it's probably the right thing to do in this case, okay? In this case. So same goes for armor. Most people give her double HP. For jewels, they list almost every single jewel that people have equipped on Spina, which is very, very detailed. And as you can see, the top two are her most common, which is critical damage increase and lethal damage increase. Her third one is kind of I won't say common, but I guess 11.68% players use this, which is damage increase. I personally use Awakening Gauge charge speed, but then again, this is a follow of old jewel and not many players have access to that. Okay, so what you see on this statistics board sometimes may not be the most optimal if you were to just follow the top three, because if you have certain better jewels which are not commonly found, such as the follow of old jewels, you should definitely go ahead and equip these on your Spina, because it doesn't mean that the top three here are the most optimal for the hero, okay? So for accessories, critical damage increase is the most used for Spina. Half the amount of players do that. Of course, I think a lot of these statistics is based on the base accessory and not the substat accessory. Okay, so lifesteal on basic attack is also the second option that most people will have on Spina. I'm not sure. See, this is the part where I'm not sure if they actually calculate both the main stat and the sub-stat accessory, or just the base, because it does affect. Doesn't mean that people give her Petrify Resist. That's because of World Boss usage, but I'm sure they have stacked on critical damage increase as well. Okay, unless they don't have access to that particular accessory. Okay, so yeah, so the accessory, so this item statistics give you a very base view of things, but it's also very useful. So for the last one is the limit break statistics, which are not available yet, but it will be very interesting to check. Okay. So overall, how do you actually make sense of all this? So if you go back to the main page of the hero statistics, you are able to actually infer the overall importance of the character in different particular modes. Okay, so if you see that Spina is used 64% of the players use Spina in World Boss, then she is quite a critical character in World Boss, which means you should have her if you want to do well in World Boss. Okay. However, she is less used in Castle Rush, maybe because people still rely on Shane or Droopy even, I'm not sure, but yeah, so you can actually compare the usage of the character between different modes as well. So I just want to bring your attention to Feng Yan. Okay, as you can see, he's strongly used in Daily Dungeon, which he rightfully should, but 25% of the players, only 25% of the players use him, okay, even though he is the Daily Dungeon specialist. So you might think to yourself whether he is actually worth building, because if less than half the players use this certain hero, then why should I actually spend all my resources on him? Can I use other heroes to clear Daily Dungeon? Of course you can, but if you are a beginner player, like I said, Feng Yan will definitely help you very quickly to clear all the necessary stages in your Daily Dungeon, and thereafter you don't really need him that much, but he's still useful. If you watch my other guides on smart mode, he's still useful for clearing those low level flaws in smart mode. Okay, so next, you can also determine the overall importance of the character in the current meta. Okay, so if you look at, I want to use Spina statistics. Okay, just roughly remember these numbers, followed by where is she? Shame. So I know you guys might be thinking, you can't really compare them, they're magic and physical, okay? But there are a lot of cases where Spina has actually replaced Shane as a DPS. Yeah. So as you can see, still the percentage of people using Shane is pretty high actually, and this actually allows you to compare though, because Spina's percentages are far higher. Okay, so this actually comparing these percentages actually let you determine the priority of the hero that you want to focus on. So would you rather focus on Shane or focus on some Spina, which is greatly used in the game? So these are things that you want to look at and think about if there are certain heroes that you are not sure if you should build them. Okay, and of course, to make meaning out of all these item statistics is, of course, it shows you what items you should actually be aiming for, and who and what kind of items should go to what kind of heroes, right? So as a beginner, I would say that aside from the DPS units, a lot of the heroes use speed weapons, so go ahead and get all your speed weapons. So next, we are moving on to the more macro scale of things, which is the content statistics. So once your heroes are optimized, these are the things that you need to start looking at. And this kind of reminds me of a more enhanced version of our previous formation and team lineup player usage feature. Also, there's the new UI being utilized in this content statistics page. So They do give a lot more details, okay, on how the actual formation will look like, and differentiation between Castle Rush, World Boss, Guild Dungeon, Arena, and I'm very impressed that every floor in Guild Dungeon is actually recorded. Although I didn't really go into each individual one to check, but yeah, really impressive. So you can actually check, and clarify. So if you're not sure what the hero does, you can actually just click on the hero and the whole codex page of the hero will come up. Still, I think these are not that updated, because if you were to look at New More 1, there's no sign of Roro. And I think Roro was quite a prominent feature in just last week's New More 1 season. Okay, so basically this is very straightforward. So how do you make sense of all this once again? So over here you can see what are the most used, or the so-called best heroes necessary for that specific mode. So let's take a look at World Boss. So in Iron Devourer you can see that the formation, and you can see that Snipper is commonly used as a DPS. He rightfully should be, because Iron Devourer is totally immune to magic attacks. And as you can see, Rachel as well, she is pretty much all lined up, okay, at the side. So they actually arrange this according to columns, so it makes comparing very easy, and it also gives you a rough gauge of the frequency of the hero used in the lineup. Okay, so as you can see, Rachel and Ares are pretty everywhere, almost everywhere. So second thing is also, it shows you the type of formation that you most need. Okay, as a beginner, your goal should be thrown into the formation upgrade. So over here you get a very good sense of what kind of formations, and a lot of formations used are actually the defensive formation, okay, for a lot of PvE usage. For PvP, currently is, the defensive formation is used as well, the balance, and as well as the offensive. So it's quite varied, but for beginner players, of course, not to worry about this at all. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it. I've basically given you guys an idea of how to make sense of all these statistics, features, and all this information that they have placed in the game for us. Okay, so finally, I do have some final statements I want to say. That is with the issues that we don't know how long what's the time frame of this collection of data is, because if you look at Shane's statistics, okay, pretty average, and then you look at Snipper's is really way lesser, especially for World Boss. Okay, even Shane has a higher usage than Snipper. So I'm not sure if this is really updated, or our players just don't bother using Snipper, because I mean, guild rate 22%, World Boss 3%. How can that be? I mean, I'm not sure, yeah. But still, as you can see, there's a very big disparity between the two, and Shane has been out of the meta for quite some time, right? So I'm not sure how long or when they started collating all this data, but this is just one of the concerns and issues that I have. Secondly, we are not sure, okay, about the demographics of the data collection. So if all players who have abandoned the game are also included, that may account for the great statistics in Shane, because I know a lot of old players actually use Shane, and they probably still have Shane on their teams. Maybe left the game and didn't even change or build a Snipper. So yeah, that's one of the possibilities. Especially for another thing would be Elisha. Okay, just take a look. She was in the meta not too long ago. and you compare this with Spike. Spike has a slightly higher percentage than Elisha overall. Okay, and Spike has been out of the meta for quite some time because Elisha was remade and Elisha came back. So yeah, I'm not too sure about how they have gathered all this data, and that's just one of the things you have to take note when you start comparing all this information. Okay, so that's all I have for this video. I hope it has been helpful for you to make sense of all the information and not be overwhelmed. And all the best in building your heroes and teams. If this video has been useful, do give it a like, and do subscribe to my channel for more of such videos to come. Thank you so much, and I'll see you.